Evening. To start, my name is Liz Coleman. I'm one of the enrollment advisors here for the program. And while I work with all of our programs, I'm thrilled to be able to talk specifically about the sport admin program this evening. And before we get started, just a few housekeeping things. Roughly, the session is going to be about an hour. We know many of you are either wrapping up your day with us and you're tired, or those who are taking just a quick break off of work. Either way, we so appreciate your time and we want to be courteous to that. And so it's going to be roughly an hour. If for any reason you have to head out early, we totally understand. Life happens. So don't worry, you will get a recording of this session sent to you via email here in the next few days. That way you can rewatch, catch us on some things that you might have missed, or just continue to listen to these special guests over and over if that's what you feel like doing. Either way is fine. We also have a fantastic Q&A feature available in the Zoom, and you'll see that at the bottom of your screen if you just hover your mouse. We are going to cover a lot of questions with our special guests because ultimately we want to make sure that we're utilizing this time for your advantage to just discover what this program has to offer from a student perspective. But if there are questions that you have specifically for these special guests, let me know, whether it be in the Q&A feature, chat, either is fine. But if there's something that we missed today, you want to be able to talk with an enrollment advisor individually, that is fantastic, and we would love to speak with you. You'll see our phone number and the email address for you to submit a chat on the screen. And again, we'd love to talk with you. But without further ado, I want to introduce our special guests today. I have Iva, Jeremy, and Daniel joining. They are all alum from the program. And so guys, super excited to be able to welcome you today. I know you all are either getting off of work or you're still working. I think, Jeremy, you had mentioned that. And so I so appreciate your time. And Iva, we'll start with you and then move forward to Jeremy and Daniel. If you guys will just take a quick minute to introduce yourselves, share about your time at the U, when you got here, or when you completed the program, and kind of what you're doing now.
Of course. Hello, everyone. Good evening or good afternoon. I'm excited to be here, so thank you all for having me. So my title does say Manager of Presidential Events, and that is a new title. I'm in week 4. So kind of how I got there. I am born and raised in Raleigh, North Carolina. I had never lived outside of my county before moving down to Miami, so it was a little different, some would say. I majored in psychology at NC State there. I knew I wanted to work in sports, so I quickly latched onto their football program and started working under then the defensive line coach, Ryan Nielsen, who is now the associate head coach for the New Orleans Saints. Worked with him for about 3 years, decided I wanted to do a little bit more than just football. So then I got into game operations under Adina Stock, who's the assistant AD there, worked with her. And then once I graduated in December of 2016, I was shopping around for different grad programs, knew I wanted to stay in Raleigh, North Carolina. So an online program was preferable because I loved my internship with NC State. That same year, in the fall of 2016, Miami went to play NC State in football, and I was the visiting team liaison for them. Started talking with Blake James. Shortly after I had been accepted into the UOnline program, he offered me a job that I would start in May of 2017. So did about a semester of UOnline before I was moving down to Miami and Coral Gables. And I quickly switched over to the in-person program after I graduated from sport administration. In May of 2020, I was reached out to become an adjunct lecturer while working in athletics as the associate director of event management. In that position, I worked with all of our varsity sports as their game manager, as well as overseeing some coordinators to let them get some experience in some smaller sport areas. And I also was the adjunct lecturer in the fall of 2020. There I actually guest taught the leadership course that is part of the program. And I have been guest speaking in the event management program since I came to the U. So about 4 weeks ago, or I should say about 2 months ago, I was reached out from the Office of the President, of President Frank, and they asked if I was looking to get out of athletics and into other types of events. And I was like, I'm not really sure. I love sports. But then they gave me an offer that was hard to turn down. So I am now manager of presidential events for President Frank and do everything from board of trustees dinners to receptions and book signings, anything that he's hosting either at his house, on campus, anything that's directly related with students. So I'm now involved in more of a campus side, but if it wasn't for the program getting me down here and I wouldn't be able to grow and be where I am. So that's a little bit about me.
Absolutely. Thank you. And Jeremy?
How you guys doing? My name is Jeremy Rivera. I was a graduate of the University of Miami in 2017. Went there for my master's. University of Miami was my dream school, so that's something I definitely wanted to do, and wasn't I didn't have the grades when I was 16 to go there. So I definitely I made it a point to go, an emphasis to make it my to walk across that stage. The first team I liked in any sport. So I definitely wanted to be a Hurricane alum. Prior to that, I actually got my internship with the Miami Heat in 2013, right after they won their second championship. So missed out the window. With LeBron's last season. You want to talk about jumping into, you got to cut fandom into, hey, you're professional now. My second day as an intern, I had to escort LeBron to a video shoot. So yeah,
Wow.
20-year-old me, 20-year-old me really was like, oh my God, like, and you kind of just like, you're just in awe. And I just talk about, you're a professional now and you're around athletes. So yeah, I was a community affairs intern in 2013, 2014 season. Saw finals run. And then I met the marketing staff and the game operations staff here, and they brought me on after my internship was over as a part-timer, as a game day assistant. And then I was a game day assistant to about 2016, where I became a stage manager. And then I actually, during my time, which was great because at UOnline, I was able to, I was a University of Miami master's student on campus my first semester of spring. And I noticed that, I was cutting on game days and I had to like finagle my way to not miss games because my foot was already in the door. Like I work with the Heat. I'm going to, I need to be working games. Like I have a very important job on game nights. So, I actually switched to UOnline, and I was actually I think I was the first to switch from campus to online, and that transition was great, and it was so much easier, so much better, to be honest, because I can go to work and I could work my game nights and do my schools during the day. So and then I became full-time with the Miami Heat in 2019, and like officially full-time, and then kind of my role has just changed. Like it says coordinator there, but I have 3 assistants. I manage the assistants from a leadership perspective, manage our hoop troop, who are our entertainment team, who they throw the t-shirts, manage Dale, Bernie, and on a game night, music, and I handle the music. What else I can now I'm helping social media for Bernie, our junior heat, help our junior heat program. So I'm just a jack of all trades. Titles not what I do, but I love every minute of what I do, and I'm glad to call myself University of Miami alum.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Daniel Katan. I'm very excited to be here tonight or afternoon. I actually graduated from the University of Miami undergrad in 2018. I got my bachelor's of science degree. I majored in psychology and minored in sports administration. So my goal was actually to go to medical school. But during my senior year at UM, the summer before my senior year, I started a basketball page on Instagram, and over the last couple of years, I grew it to around 83,000 followers. And during that time, when I was running that account and I grew it, I realized that my passion is sports, and some way, somehow, I need to get my foot in the door. And also during the time while I was at school, I was interning for a sports agency based in Toronto, Canada, which is where I'm originally from, called Durant Sports Management, just helping them. They were also fairly new. He was my old basketball coach, so we just have a great connection. He's my mentor. So just helping him along the way when it comes to social media or, anything else that he asks, like as a personal assistant. After I graduated in 2018, when I realized that sports is where I want to go, I actually moved to New York. I just thought that New York is just a great opportunity. Lots of sports teams there. Went to meet, connected with a few people there, and I ended up getting a part-time job with the Brooklyn Nets as a street team, which is basically like I would be standing out on the streets of Brooklyn and New York, gathering leads for their inside sales department. And during game days, just doing promotional events on the concourse at Barclays Center. So I did that for a year while serving at a restaurant. So I was going back and forth between the two. And then after that season was over in 2019, I really wanted to come back to Miami. I had one of my friends who works with me at the Heat, got me the position as an A-team, or now we changed the name to a digital fan experience expert. So I've been working there for the last 3 seasons. Actually, this is my 3rd season now. So basically now I'm just navigating and troubleshooting the Miami Heat mobile app if there's any issues during game days. And during the pandemic, when there was no work, they allowed some of us to help out in the retail department. So I was actually doing that until this past month, until we came back to the arena, and things are hopefully going to be back to normal now. So yeah, that's about me. And I'm in the master's. How did I forget? I'm in the master's program as well. Currently, I'm still doing it. So I'm doing the A-team, and I'm doing my 5th course of the master's program.
Oh, perfect. Well, it's nice that we have the perspective of, those who have already completed the program, and Daniel, you currently in the program. So again, appreciate all 3 of you, taking the time. I have to admit, just hearing everything that you guys have done, I'm exhausted. You guys have worked so hard. And so I appreciate, again, you sharing a little bit more with our students. And before we get started, we do have a quick question asking when the online program was initiated. And from my understanding, it was about 6 years ago. But pretty much what we did was we took the traditional campus program that's offered on campus and condensed it into an online program that it just allows much more flexibility for those who are working full time. So instead of, possibly taking multiple courses, at the same time, or having to be on campus at the same time every day, with the online program, you're only taking one at a time, and it is asynchronous. So you're choosing, what time of day you log in. So that is a fantastic question. I did want to just ask this question for you guys, and anyone can answer. It doesn't have to be in any specific order. I feel like we're pretty chill people here. So, but, there's a ton of online programs out there, and even more so now, after the pandemic and everything pretty much being forced to shift online. So what was it about the UOnline program that, stuck out to you and encouraged you to want to, join our program?
I can start if that's cool.
Yes, please.
So before the pandemic, I was always thinking of going back to school, especially because I was doing medicine before and I had only a minor in sports administration, and everybody was telling me like, oh, it's time to take that level up and get a master's degree in sports administration. So I always had that in the back of my head, and I was looking at other schools in Florida. But of course, like my eyes was on the prize of University of Miami. And while I was in undergrad, I always had a good connections with my professors. and they always told me about the sports administration program, whether it's in class or online. And then during COVID, I was like, this one, I didn't have any work with the Heat. I told myself like, it's time, this is the time to go back to school. And the only place that I looked at was Miami at that point. And I'm really excited to be here. Like you were saying, like the flexibility between work and school, doing the online program is probably the best thing ever. So truly grateful for that.
I visited several different graduate programs, UNC Chapel Hill, UNC North Carolina, and also Western Carolina, a bunch of other graduate programs. And I loved that the professors were so well connected. And it wasn't just a, like, oh, we know so-and-so and they were an alumni, but it was, no, we work with them on a daily basis or on a weekly basis. They guest speak in our classes. They are so well connected in the sports world. And that was what I really wanted. And after getting to know them, going through the program, as well as guest speaking for them and being an adjunct lecturer with them, I honestly would give those professors my kidney. They were just, they're good people and they truly want what's good for you. They want to make sure that they are so, well spread out and everyone knows what the U is. I did a study abroad program when I was in grad school in London, and we were over there just if we wore a U t-shirt or U polo, and everyone in London, whether they were a local or they were from the States, another country, they knew what that symbol meant. So the brand just speaks so much more than a Western Carolina or even a UNC. I mean, it was absolutely insane of how well connected they were. And even we went to the Yankees Red Sox game and there was a U alum who was working for the Red Sox and they got us tickets. And it was just one of those things that once you're a Cane for life. And it's not just, oh, I didn't go there for undergrad, I only went there for grad school or vice versa. If you have that University of Miami on your resume or on that degree, it's something that's like, no matter where you go, either someone's a huge fan or they have that connection and they want to help you. And I didn't get that vibe when I went and visited the other schools. After talking to those alumni, I was like, oh, I reached out and they just never got back. But it was like, no, they want to help you get to that next level. And that's what, doing school is all about, is getting to that next level. So I think after shopping around for schools, going through the program, and now still keeping in contact with these professors, it was unmatchable.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of alluded to earlier that, the University of Miami is my dream school. So, I mean, I was going to try to be a Canadian regardless.
Yeah.
I did apply to UF and I did apply to FIU, which was my undergrad school. But I mean, once the university, I mean, I got into all of them. I got UF and I was like, all right, come on, UF, come on. And once you gave that call house, there ain't no question. There was no question. And you see it, when you're done with the program or you're actually in the program, on the Facebook group, pre-pandemic, Paul Resnick, when he's posting up job openings all the time, that for students, and always telling, hey, like this job's open, this internship's open, we might know somebody here. I didn't get that at FIU. We didn't get that. The alumni base, the people want to take care of you. This Cane thing is for life. It's really, it matters. It's a national brand. That U logo is a national brand. There's weight to that. It ain't, you hear when the football team talks about it, the alums talk about it. It matters, in the networking field, and it matters in work, especially in sports. So it's definitely something that, that I definitely hold weight to me.
Absolutely. And Jeremy, I appreciate you mentioning that, because that's a perfect segue into, what I definitely wanted to mention was the close alumni, network, and how we do have someone that works specifically, for our sport administration students, and making sure that, hey, these job opportunities are out there. And I know you guys are aware of this, working within the sports industry, either whether it be, previously, or Daniel and Jeremy currently, you have to know someone these days to get your foot in the door, and our faculty understand that, our career services team understand that, and so we want to make sure that we're utilizing that U brand to help you stand out to employers. So, and all three of you mentioned that, which was wonderful. I didn't even have to ask. So, and that just goes to show, how intentional they are with our online students. We do have a couple more questions in the Q&A that I want to address. Several about the length of the program. By doing it one course at a time for 7 weeks, followed by a 1 week long break. In total, the online program is 10 courses. So it's going to be about a 20-month long program, or about a year and a half to completion. So be sure to connect with an enrollment advisor about those. And of course, we can go over those specific courses that you would take. We also have questions about scholarship opportunities. We do actually offer scholarships to every student that's admitted, which is a huge help when it comes to funding your program. And those amounts are strictly based off of when you start the program, what program you're going into, and your specific background. So again, be sure to connect with one of our enrollment advisors. That way we can be sure to, let you know specifically what scholarships you'd qualify for and give you a good idea of what the cost would be. Moving forward to our questions, I guess the sports industry is so broad, but the cultural dominance of sports is hugely impactful in the United States, but especially in the Miami area. And all three of you have experienced that. I've heard Dr. D say herself, Miami is a global hub for the sports industry. I mean, we have professional teams everywhere you look. And so it really is a fantastic opportunity for even our online students. Sorry, I lost. But the theme of today, we really want to talk about sports marketing. Have either of you been able to, dive into the sports marketing aspect of things? Because that was also a question that we had, what exactly is sports marketing and what would that look like?
I'll take this one first. Well, in game operations, game presentation is under marketing, and so obviously work for the Heat. It's sports. So sports marketing. I mean, the best way I could define it is putting, selling the vision, the fan base, selling to the fan base what this team represents, and a way to not only sell the players, sell the merchandise, sell what we're trying to do, right? So, for example, our Vice campaign. How are we going to market our Vice campaign? We had our, different city jerseys. What's going to tap into the younger generation that they're going to like that's cool, and the old school generation. You're going to have your 50, your 60-year-olds who are going to buy the different funky colors of fuchsia and the light blue and the white. Isn't 60-year-old man gonna put on a pink jersey? It's different, and it's how do you market that? So it's tapping into your fan base, and it's caring what they like. What do they want? What do they want to hear when they come to a Heat game? I'm not. It's catering to their needs, and it's marketing, and it's putting it in a sports element. In a basketball, something that's just different, right? So just in being universal, and caring for all your, ages, races, your genders, being inclusive, caring for everybody. And I think, and doing in sports, and that's, acknowledging your fan base and what they want. And every city's different. Every city's different. I can't play, we can't have Spanish music and all Spanish music all the time in certain parts of the country, right? Because they're not used to that. They're used to different kind of genre of music, right? Or doing different theme nights, different, country theme Western night probably wouldn't work in Miami, but probably work in different parts of the country. So it's just making sure you know what your fan base likes and what you got to cater to the likes and wants.
I always say sports marketing is like the fun part of the job. In operations and logistics, you're in college sports, there's a lot of rules on what marketing can and cannot do with their fans, and rules of, you can't have flashing lights and you can't give away this, you don't want to give away a bag if it's not a clear bag and stuff like that. So we were always the ones saying no to all their fun ideas or trying to figure out how to work with them to make their idea come to life. So that was kind of, I always thought sports marketing was like the fun part of it. Like, how can we use our creativity to draw others into our event?
I actually agree a lot with what both is saying, but also with Jeremy about tapping into the fan base, just like from a personal perspective, like running my Instagram page, just, marketing that and the brand that I had and seeing what my followers liked and didn't like. But from like the Heat perspective, just from what I've been learning is just to be ready to innovate and always like think ahead, compare and contrast what other teams are doing and how we can be a step ahead compared to everybody else. That's my 2 cents on that.
All fantastic answers. Thank you. I believe you mentioned that you had a background in psychology, so this question actually might be better suited for you. A student says, I'm coming from an accounting background, so my question is, how does the program help in getting students comfortable with entering into the sports world?
Great question. So I think if you're coming from a whole different ballgame, an area of life, and wanting to get your foot in the door, I think they do a great job of, whether you know a lot about whatever class, sport law or whatever it may be, they do, or you don't know anything, they do a great job of the pace of the program. They've done a lot of research on what you should start with and the order of the course scheduling that you should take to ease you into it. And if you know a lot about it, you're going to be like, let's go, boom, boom, boom. But if you are nervous and it's a whole new world for you, they do a great job of keeping that pace so you're on track, but it's not too fast. So switching over from a different major and having some experience but not experience in every single class they were taking, they do a great job of the pace of the curriculum and the course schedule that you have to take in that order. They've done a lot of research on how to make that, that way the best for the students.
Excellent question and excellent answer. Thank you. And to kind of segue off of that, the program is very broad to cover pretty much everything that you need to know to, establish a leadership level position in the sports industry, whether it's high school, college, professional athletics. And we like it that way because we know that there's so many students that want to, like you said, go into either sports marketing or sports law or operations coordinator. Like, there's so many different avenues that you can go into. And so my question for you is, as an alum from the program, how did the curriculum help you succeed in real world scenarios?
I would say we talked a lot about diversity. I think that was a really cool aspect during our discussion boards, right? And I think that was that was 2016 at that time, when it wasn't, we were kind of just treading the waters at that time. So you kind of understood. And at my time in my classes, I had a lot of women in my classes, and to just hear their opinions and what they felt like and what they were kind of feeling about women trying to break barriers in sports. And I think it was really cool because, here at the Heat, that's when we really preach diversity. And we have a lot of women in higher leadership roles here in the company. So to kind of understand that, they were once the girl, the women that are in my classes, right? They were once that woman that was trying to break through and trying to get to that next chance. So just to hear their stories and just hear their opinions on different stories that we were talking about in discussions. And I remember Title IX was one that was really big. I remember we talked about Kaepernick. We talked about I think the U.S. women's soccer team and how they weren't getting paid compared to the men. We broke down different stories every course in different ways, and it was always kind of insightful as a man just to sit back and just listen to what their opinions were.
I completely agree with all that Jeremy just said. It was awesome. They also bring in real life professionals and put you in contact with them. So I remember in event management, we were presenting to the Marlins on how, an event that we wanted to host there, and how it would work at Marlins Park and how can they get more fans to attend. And you're looking right at them on Zoom or however it may be, and telling them your ideas, and they're listening. And if they're doing it, they want to invite you down and help, you are actually in it and going in and helping them with the event. And whether it's that or they do guest speakers with the Olympic Committee. And in sport law, we talk to someone in the Olympic Committee, and you're hearing the real life scenarios that are going on in their lives, and you're learning about it. So you're not just learning about it after the fact, but you may check in with them before it, what their situation's happening, and then after it's happening, and you're saying, well, what could you have done better? What would you have done in their situation after we go over this topic? So it's a bunch of, real world situations of like this happens, but then also your classmates who are on all different levels of professional careers, of growth and everything. So you're getting their input too. They already may be, I knew a lot about college athletics and the overall function, but I didn't know a lot about the pro side or high school side. And so having people, my classmates around them to be able to say like, okay, so in sport law, this is actually what we do in college, but this is what we do in the pros, to high school. And it was all different levels. And they were able to adjust, that curriculum to that.
I'm currently still in the program, not an alum yet, but I'll get there. But honestly, like the two courses that stuck to me the most till today was with Dr. Mullane. She does the ethical decision making and the leadership in sports. So definitely those two, how to become a better leader, leading by example, making better decisions, and also like ethical decision making have really stuck with me when, in the work environment and just in real world experiences. So I'm truly like happy that I was able to learn from her and her experiences as well.
Absolutely. And all three of you have mentioned, our faculty, and they truly are incredible. And for those that are not aware, these are the same faculty who work with our on-campus students. So you're getting the same type of exposure to, elite content that's going to help prepare you for that next step in your career, even through the online platform of being just much more flexible, or if you be able to work full time. Like Jeremy made the transition from being on campus to going online so that he could juggle work. And I've a transition from online to on campus because she moved to Miami. And so having those faculty there to help you, in whatever platform is going to be the better fit for you, they're just incredible. And we actually have a question kind of tailoring off of this. It says, how involved are the professors with the courses? Coming from an online program with professors not involved and feeling like I basically taught myself. I'm so sorry you had that experience, but would you guys be willing to share a little bit about your experience with our UOnline faculty?
Yeah, I'll start. As Elizabeth was saying, I had some of these professors during my undergrad, and the amazing thing is, I haven't seen some of them before I, came back, maybe 5 years. And when I introduced myself, they remembered me. Like that's just so many students that they've had over the last 5 years, and they still remember my name, asked how I was doing, like where I am. Like they really, really care for you. And whenever you need to reach out to them, they're always available, always answering emails, would hop on a Zoom call with you. Even if, like people think like online and in class, like they're still there to help you as much as they can, and to guide you, like give you advice. Like I've had one-on-one conversations with Dr. Martin, who does the intro in sports management, and, just giving me advice on what I can do better, and, like what my next steps could be in the industry. So you really have like a great connection with the faculty, even online, on campus. It really doesn't matter. They're there for us.
I would definitely say they're as involved as you let them be, because they will be with you every step of the way if you want them to. But if you want to keep a little distance, they'll keep a distance. So, if you reach out for anything, then they'll respond. I mean, that's the whole, I think, a huge benefit coming from NC State, where it was such a big environment. And there was just so many students. It seemed like sometimes you were like, oh, number 347, like that's you. Whereas with the University of Miami education, it's a smaller private school. So you get that one-on-one attention if you want it. And it's involved as, you want them to be with your education, with your internship, with your experience, with job hunting. I mean, they will fight tooth and nail trying to get, whoever they know to find out someone else to make sure that you're set up for success.
Yeah, I mean, she said it perfectly. I can't say anything better than that. And the professors are going to be there. I remember when I graduated, I thought about like, hey, maybe I should get my doctorate because I thought this professor thing is cool. And Professor Martin was like, do you need it? And he just kind of like he talked me down the ledge. I was like, cool. I was like, all right, this is awesome. And Paul Resnick, man, like I said it before, that Facebook group is so cool because I mean, it's really good to see him constantly post that, and it's starting to grow more and more like pre-pandemic where, hey, job opening here, internship here, job opening here. If I know somebody over here, message me, send me your resume, we'll try to help you. And at that point, he's getting that resume to that person, and now it's your job to impress. It's at the end of the day, we're all adults here. So I mean, professors are going to do as much as they can, but you also have to put in the work, and you have to want it just as bad, right? Because they're doing their duty. Hey, I'm gonna give you these lessons, I'm gonna give you some insight, and I'm gonna try to help you out with this job. But if you don't come to the table and provide something, or if you don't show up or send an assignment, or you don't answer that email, professors can't go as hard. So, but they are there for you. And that's the one thing I definitely can agree with both Daniel and Iva.
And the Facebook group that he's referring to, they also post when someone gets a new job or a promotion, they're also posting like, congratulations to, UM alum, insert someone's name. And then you have everyone commenting on that, like, oh my gosh, congratulations, I work here too. We should meet up for lunch. It's just all that. So it's you feel like it's actually a small knit family because they're like, oh, congratulations to so-and-so, they just got a job. And you're like, oh my gosh, that's awesome. I was in class with them. So you get to follow along with people's lives professionally as well.
For sure. I will say this, and I will say it's unique these days of actually meeting in person, but before COVID, we had the opportunity to host a graduation reception the day before graduation. And so that was my really first exposure with the programs. And so I'll be honest with you, I expected students to come in, grab their goodie bag and leave, but was so blown away at how these students acted like they've known each other for years and years. And they were so excited to be able to see each other in person. And it's because the classrooms are intentional. Iva, you mentioned that they're small. We typically keep our classes no more than 20, 25 students because we want to make sure that your faculty know you. They know your strengths, they know your weaknesses, and they know how to serve you best. But to reiterate what Daniel and Jeremy said, it also takes an act from you to step up. What can I do to, also stand out to these future employers? But they make it very hard for you not to be successful in the program. I'll say that. We have another question. I'm not sure if this is one we can answer very well, but with your professional insight, we'll try. It says, hello, I currently work for the Atlanta Hawks and I would love to move up in the company. How has your master's degree helped you advance in your career?
I would say for me, it was my boss at my VPs who I direct to, and prior to that when I was community affairs, they had their masters. So I looked at that as, okay, well, these the head honchos, the high execs have theirs. I can't, if I get there, I should know what it's like, what that same kind of that style, that same road that they're paving the way for me. My story is different because I kind of, my road to where my position is now was kind of, it was already kind of set. But I will say that when you get your master's, there's another network you're growing, right? So you're not only growing that network that whoever you come to the University of Miami or going elsewhere, but you're also meeting new people. You're gonna meet. So you get your master's in, even if it's not the Atlanta Hawks, another NBA team, another NFL team, MLB team. That's like, oh, you got University of Miami. Oh, master's here, experience the Atlanta Hawks. Your resume is already speaking for itself. And trust me, after I looked at a couple resumes for the assistant job, like it matters, that this, so college doesn't matter for sports. It matters. You see it because you have experience here and you have the education. So it definitely pays dividends. So I would definitely highly suggest it. We talked about that yesterday actually in a meeting. It's like, oh, Jeremy has his master's. There's in our VP kind of meeting. So it's definitely holds the weight for the
Absolutely.
higher ups.
Go ahead, Daniel. Are you good? Okay. I think backing up your experiences with your education is crucial. It's great that everyone has, 10 years of experience in this field and 10 years of experience in that field. But if you don't say that, like, no, I know this is the correct way because I have a degree in it, I think that holds more weight. It's great to have all this experience, but if you don't have your education to back it up, it doesn't hold as much weight. I also think it separates you apart and will help you move up. And in that, I mean, everyone seems to have a college degree these days. It almost seems like it's a requirement. So the next part of that is like, okay, what's going to separate me from someone else? Okay, we both have the same experience, but if I have a master's, that education is going to put me over someone else for a promotion. So that was one thing that I knew that I was like, I have to, when I moved down, I was like, I have to finish my degree because if it's ever me against someone else, we have the same amount of experience. That master's degree is going to hold me to a higher level because I do have that education backing up all of my experience.
Right.
So I'm currently working part-time with the Heat while in the master's program, but I do want to say this. My current manager, he graduated from UM the same year as me in 2018 from undergrad while working with the Heat part-time. And right after he graduated, he started his master's degree, I think the following year, also while working for the Heat. And the second he graduated from the master's program, he got a full-time job with the Heat. They were basically waiting for him to graduate and he got the position. Another girl who started with me in the first year on the A team or digital fan experience, also she finished her master's degree and within 3-4 months, she got a full-time job in the strategy department too. So they were, basically hinting to me, get that master's degree and your time will come. So I haven't gotten into that yet, but I just wanted to throw it out there that the master's degree definitely helps. And I'm like grateful that I listened to both of them when they told me like, you should get your master's degree if you want to keep moving up in the industry.
Absolutely. I definitely appreciate that insight because I do get that question a lot, is a master's degree necessary? And the simple answer is no. And Iva, like you said, I think that education plus experience, they go hand in hand. But having that master's degree along with the connections from our program and intentionality is definitely a game changer. And we can never guarantee a job post graduating from the program, but it is very encouraging for me to hear from all three of you just the possibilities and opportunities that have been presented to you because of either being in the process of obtaining that master's degree or having it. We do have another questions. These are fantastic questions coming in, guys. So thank you so much for sending them in. One student asked, how intense are the courses? And I'll actually add a little bit onto that. Can you explain kind of what a day-to-day or a week-to-week, looks like for the typical student who is trying to work and juggle family or just all the life responsibilities while in the program?
Go. Oh, go ahead, Jeremy.
No, go ahead. Ladies first.
For me, it was, well, what was hard was the timing, right? So when, Jeremy's kind of alluded to game operations and, how many hours you're putting in. So I would be working 12-hour days and then I'd be doing my classes at night. And you have that drive, you just got to keep going. But as far as intensity of the classes, it was, I enjoyed reading articles and doing my own research. So I probably made it harder on myself. But it was a topic that I was very interested in. Like I enjoyed not only working in sports, but I also enjoy learning about them and what's going on in the hot topics and how is this going to affect sports later on. As even professional sports and college sports, start changing and you're learning about all those current topics and how it's going to impact you working in the field, as well as, maybe your kids when they want to be athletes at some point. So I probably made it harder on myself, but it's nothing that you couldn't do. It's just dedicating that time. So that time, like me, was, late night after work, or if you're getting up, in the morning and doing it, it's just dedicating the time and taking it seriously to get it done.
Yeah. It's, online is different, right? Because, you don't have to go there Monday, you don't have to be there Tuesday. It's, hey, you have till Thursday at midnight to finish this discussion or finish this, piece of whatever that they're asking for. I think my toughest part was citations. I mean, that killed me. Citations killed me. Like I couldn't do it. I couldn't nail that part. I think that was the hardest part of UOnline was the citations, because a lot of it was thinking based. A lot of it is, what is your opinion on this? Or do you think this is ethical? Do you think this is right? Or do you think can you market the strategy differently? A lot of the classes that you're in is more of you're using your opinion on how you would handle this situation and whatever the given task. It's nothing like you're not doing no math. You just make sure your citations are correctly. Or you're gonna lose a point. That's gonna hurt you. I promise you. Yeah, that would probably be so if you're good at citations and you're good at thinking for yourself, I promise you're gonna do well, and you're gonna flourish in your classes.
What I'm really gonna say is the fact that the UOnline program is just one course for 7 weeks. It's honestly amazing, and it's truly doable if you put the time, effort into it. Again, I'm working part-time, so I definitely have time during the day to work. But now that events are back at the arena, when I was working retail, again, it was remote, but still going back and forth between the hours that I was helping out in the retail department and school. So if I had a little break from 12 to 1, I would try to get research for my discussion that I had to do that day or the next day or on the weekend. So it was definitely doable. Again, the professors, the faculty are always there to help. It might feel intense, but as long as you're putting the time, you're reaching out for help, never be afraid to reach out for help, because the professors really want to help you. You're going to do well. That's what I have to say on that.
Absolutely. So in short, manage your time and make sure your citations are good.
And Liz, I think also like the professors are human, like they understand that life happens. And if you just let them know what's going on, as long as like you have that communication piece, like they understand it, like they're human too. They have life things going on. And so having that communication piece, I think will go a long way.
That's huge. Yes, thank you all three.
That
That is
was
a
well said.
fantastic. Yes, I was going to say the same thing. Very well said. We do have a quick question about the program and when it would start. Our UOnline programs are a little different than the on-campus. We typically offer 3 start dates per year. So January, May, and September. So obviously the upcoming start date is going to be January 10th, and I would absolutely encourage you to start your application as soon as you possibly can. If you're looking for that, as kind of going back to the intentionality piece, we want to keep our classes small. And so with that, spots are allotted on somewhat of a first come, first serve basis. So be sure to connect with one of our advisors about that. Also had a question about the Facebook group. I do want to preface that that is actually only for students that are in the program. So you would have to be officially enrolled before you were added to that group and, learn more about those networking opportunities. But thank you for asking. Also, a student agrees with you, Jeremy, that they are not a fan of APA citations. So you are not alone in that frustration. I think we can all agree on that. I'm not a huge citation
I'm
fan
pretty
either.
sure I got like a B minus C French on the only class because I just couldn't nail it. And I tried so hard, and it was like, you know what, just let me pass and we move on to the next 7 weeks.
Sure. So this is one question I'm not sure we'll be able to answer very well. It's actually 2 questions on a very similar topic. Basically, they would like to know if they're going to be starting their own business or club. One is for netball based in Jamaica, and then the other is a cheer club. Wanting to know, I guess, if the program would help promote entrepreneurship, if you guys dove into that in the program, and I guess any advice that you can give to these students just from your professional experiences. Again, this is one of those tricky questions that I'm not sure if we would technically be able to answer.
I'll try my best. Basically, again, like it's all about the connections and talking with faculty. If you want to start, sorry, what was it? I'm looking
It's
at the question. A cheer gym,
yes, and
or
then
the netball.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to reach out, and again, with the Facebook group, when you come to the program, you can write there and see what people have to offer, because there's a lot of alum and the professors have a lot of connections. You just don't know who they know, who they can introduce you to. I think that's from the courses. Again, I'm only 5 deep. Yeah, there were some parts about entrepreneurship and from what I'm trying to remember. Again, right now I'm in the globalization of sport. So that's another big topic of how to take your company or what you want to do globally. It doesn't necessarily have to be here in the United States. So I hope I answered it. But yeah.
And then I know we're coming close to an end of our time, so I want to get to this question very quickly. It says, what would you say is the difference between sports management and sport administration? I have been researching both, but I wanted to hear about the difference, if at all.
I like the sound of administration better. That was kind of, I looked up a lot of schools that were like management versus administration, and the difference, I'm sure that's a lot of the same. My boyfriend's actually a master's degree in sport management. So I think for me, it was a preference thing. We took a lot of the same courses, but I liked having administration because I didn't want to necessarily, I knew I wanted to be an administrator. And so for me, it was just a preference. I don't know that there's a difference or not, but I just liked the way it sounded.
Yeah, I did management at FIU and administration at UM. The courses are very, very similar. I mean, I guess admin from that standpoint, you can, use it if you want to go be a professor. You want to teach the class. Maybe that's probably the definition, but I didn't really see a difference at all. A lot of very similar. Just the thought level was different from your master's to your bachelor's course. So I think just some schools just pick and choose names out of a hat. Maybe that's probably what they want to do.
That's fair. I will say, I think from my personal experience, a lot of times a bachelor's degree, I would say usually is sports management, and then master's is going to be sport administration. Again, I think it's just a name thing. Both are very similar, but what I would encourage you to do in that situation is, really focus more on the topics that you're going to discuss in each program, and then use that to determine, what degree you want to get. I wouldn't really focus on the name, because at the end of the day, what's going to help you snag that position is your area of expertise in areas, and then of course the connections that you've been able to make. We did have a question about fall of 2022 and the next start date for that. Check out our website. We typically keep all of our start date and deadline information there. But typically our early admissions deadline for next fall is going to be around July. And I would encourage you to start your application starting early next year, as we do find that the fall is definitely most popular. And so it fills very quickly. But as we're coming to an end of our session, I just wanted to again say thank you so much to all three of you for ending your days with us, or taking the time out of your work schedule to just speak with our students. You truly have no idea how impactful you are on these prospective students as they're trying to figure out, if I'm ready to commit to a master's. If so, where, why what is this going to look like? They can hear from, about the program from myself as an enrollment advisor, or even from our faculty. But at the end of the day, I think we can all agree with this. We just want to be able to relate to someone. And so having someone that either, was in our shoes or is currently, in the program, that's huge. So again, thank you all so much for your insight. And students, thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedules as well. It's been an honor to be able to have you. And like I mentioned earlier, our early admissions deadline for the spring term, so starting January 10th, is Monday, November 8th, which is only a few weeks away, and time will always go by very quickly, especially when there's a deadline involved. So definitely want to encourage you to go to our website and start that application. Plus, it's free to apply. So that's always a nice touch. In addition, by attending today, we just want to say just a simple thank you as much as we possibly can for taking that time. And so we'd love to be able to offer you our $300 deposit fee waiver. So that way, if you decide to apply, you're admitted, and you want to join the U through our UOnline program and start this opportunity, you don't have to worry about paying that $300 deposit. It's already been waived for you. So just be sure to connect with an enrollment advisor on how to get that locked in. Like I mentioned earlier in this session, as an enrollment advisor, our job is to help you get into this program and make that dream and your passion a reality. So let us know how we can serve you best through the process. You'll see the link to the application on your screen. But that does conclude our session. Again, thank you all so much for being here. You will get a link with the recording of this session. That way you again can go back and watch something you might have missed. But I appreciate you guys, and hope everyone enjoys the rest of your day. Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
It was
Good
a
luck.
pleasure. Good luck, everyone.
That's right.